What's up, you guys? Danger Rock here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Spider-Man 3 new Goblin action figure. Now, this is the figure that came in the 3 3/4 inch, 4 inch line of Spider-Man figures. This is not the 6 inch version. This is one that actually got released multiple times. They actually released this guy with a silver paint job in different color. They released an unmasked variant of this guy. I just have the standard version. So what I want to be doing today is taking a closer look at him and comparing him to some other Green Goblin action figures that I have. And this one has actually been one of my favorites for a long time now, because growing up, Spider-Man 3 was always one of my favorite movies, and it feels so cool just to have an action figure of this piece of nostalgia. Now, this guy was released several times in 6 inch scale. He was released for the Spider-Man Sam Raimi trilogy classic line of figures. Those figures came on a yellow card. He was also released for the Marvel Legends Sandman Build-A-Figure wave. He was released as a Walmart limited edition, which came in like a clear see-through blue card. And just in general, there's several different versions of these that you can get. So this is not the only new Goblin out there. But this is a smaller one. So what we're going to be doing first is taking a closer look at his accessories. We're going to start off with his glider. Now, this is really cool. This is actually the one that looks exactly like in the movie for the new Goblin. We got these little turbine things that he has right here. And he actually does have a play feature where if you push in this orange like smoke thing, it releases a disc, which you can have him simulate that he's shooting in the sky at Spider-Man or Peter Parker, actually, because it was that scene from the movie where he was fighting this guy in the sky. So also really nice detail put in on the bottom here. I really like all the sculpted detail on the glider on the sides right here. And I like the two peg holes he has for the feet. He actually stands on this thing pretty well. So I actually really like that a lot about him. So now, taking a closer look at the figure, what I will say is I really like his mask. And I really like the dark colors they used in his eyes. I like the way you got this whole, like, lime green, like, following him. I like that you could see his forehead, but his hairdo looks very, not flat, but I would say they put a lot of detail into his curly hair. You can see his hair kind of like sticking up a little bit, which is actually really, really cool. I also really like the silver spike on his arms right here, which he uses, and he tries to stab Peter Parker in the air with these things. So even though he doesn't have this on throughout the entire movie, I really like that Hasbro included that detail. And really nice black they used throughout. They got all the sculpting detail and everything good. Very nice detail right there on his belt. On the back right here, I really like the straps and everything you could see on his suit. They colored it in silver. They actually sculpted and painted everything. They didn't leave anything undetailed. Even his shoulder pads right here have nice detail in them. I really like that. And for being a smaller in scale figure, that doesn't take away from this guy being posable. So my favorite part about this guy is his posability. I can get him standing on that glider in all kinds of different poses. So you can fully rotate his head a full 360. His head hinges up and down. It doesn't really go up or down that far, but you can rotate his hands, but they don't go all the way around. His right arm goes all the way around. This one, I guess, is limited because of this strap right here. They bend at the elbows. They don't swivel at the wrist at all. And what's really cool is kind of like he's got a gripping hand like he's throwing a pumpkin bomb. And his other hand, he just has a pointed hand, which is actually really, really cool. He does have chest movement. the joint goes down that far. It goes that far up. Mine is loose, so it will wiggle around unless I get him to stand in a steady pose. You can fully rotate his waist. He has hip articulation. There's a hinge right here, which you can hinge his legs outward to get him to do a split. Leg will kick outward that far. And it can't go back that far because there's a joint right here, but you can get it to move back a little bit. They bend at the knees, and they bend at the feet pretty well. So I actually really like that about this figure. So what I'm going to do now is take the 2 peg holes at the bottom of his feet and put him on his glider. And what's really cool is when we put him on his glider, he is just so still and steady that not only will he not fall off, but we can pose him. See, I could get him to bend his knees. I could get his knees to look up a little bit. I could get him in a crouching pose, like he's flying through like the New York City skylines. And look at that. That looks really cool. And just to give you guys an idea of how cool this guy is, what I have for comparisons is here we have one of the 3 3/4 inch Spider-Mans that came out during this line, which is very much in scale to this figure. They're about the same height. So they actually scale very well with each other. So what we could do is, now I'm going to take him off his glider. Let's compare him to Spider-Man. But first, let's get him standing up straight so we can see the height difference with these two guys. And what I will say is yeah, they're about the same height, which I think of wasn't Harry a little bit taller than Peter in the movie, so the scale on these is not exactly perfect. But what I will do for some other comparisons is here we got definitely one of my favorite Toy Biz figures, the metallic 6-inch Green Goblin, just to give you guys an idea of how big this is, because Green Goblin was taller than New Goblin and Peter Parker in the movie, so that kind of scales really well. Here we have the unmasked Green Goblin for comparison. And actually, this is out. This is a Toy Biz Green Goblin. But what we also do have is the Hasbro Green Goblin. And I'm putting all these guys next to each other to give you an idea of how big these guys are. Which was really cool is that Hasbro released them unmasked. So these are very early Hasbro figures. These came out at the time where Marvel Legends were dying on the market, and people were not a fan of these smaller scale figures because everything that you've collected up until this point was no longer in scale with these guys. So it was kind of like if you saw this line at the store, they had like the Venom, that had like the Ooze plaything and everything, that you would think that these 3 3/4 inch Spider-Man figures were aimed more at kids, and the 6-inch ones were aimed more for collectors. But for just being a toy, all these guys have got some pretty good detail. So I'm actually very happy that we got these from Hasbro. What I do think, though, is that I do think that Hasbro should redo these in the future, because for being not my favorite movie, but for as great as a movie as it was, I feel like the toy line for these could have been better. I mean, I do like these just the way they are because of nostalgic purposes, but they're not. This is not the best version of New Goblin out there, so I wouldn't highly recommend it. I would highly recommend you get one that's the 6-inch one, but just because of the detail on the glider and everything. I mean, I wouldn't put this one down. I actually think that this one was actually pretty good. So, for being a lifetime Spider-Man collector, this was a must-have for me. I could see why this would just be an easy pass for some people, but at the same time, I wouldn't say I highly recommend it. I would just recommend it if you have the other Spider-Mans in this scale, because you want some of your villains to go along with this. So this was not a bad choice. But I will say about it, he is a pretty good figure. He's not a great figure, but he's pretty good. He'll look good on your Spider-Man shelf. So, yeah, especially with this glider, I think that that's what made me want him so much. And I actually will put him on the shelf with my Sam Raimi Spider-Man display, because he still looks pretty good. So, yeah, this has been my review of the Spider-Man 3 Hasbro 3 3/4 inch new Goblin action figure. If you like this video, please leave a like. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of this figure? Do you think he was worth picking up? I look forward from hearing from you guys. Thank you all for watching as always. And I'll see you guys on the next video review.